Good afternoon, guys. It's your boy Si, aka the Mancunian, aka at Psycho Mank. Welcome to Gunner Talk. I had recorded my podcast this morning, and I got about 30 to 40 minutes into it, and then my phone just started to go absolutely bananas. I'm not that popular, so when that happened, I knew obviously what it meant is that it was everybody texting me saying Unai's gone. I'm just not sure how I feel about it, to be honest. I can't take any real joy out of a manager of Arsenal Football Club getting sacked. It doesn't make me feel good in the slightest, to be honest. I'm sure people see it as a right result. I just feel so conflicted. I'm really struggling to know how to take things or how to deal with things today. Yes, I'm happy it's over. Unai had to go, but am I delighted? Does him going make everything okay all of a sudden? No, there's still so much, so many problems for me that we need to get sorted. I'm just not sure how much of a difference it's going to make. Celebrating that someone's left it, I think, is a bit classless. I have no ill feelings towards Unai whatsoever. He had to go. The board finally have made the decision to get rid of him. For some people, a year too late. For me, at least a couple of months too late now. I was struggling to come to terms with how last season ended, and sort of be respectful of him. And then like a lot of people, it was like, right, well, let's just see how the board help him. Maybe he can turn it around once he gets some better players. He's had he's not had a ton of help from the board, but he's got enough. He's got enough to survive with, and for us not to be in the mess we're in. I think that's universally obvious. I just don't know. I want to celebrate. I want to feel really happy and delighted. I felt a massive sense of relief when, like I say, I was recording the podcast earlier and the text started coming through. I did feel like, right, that's over. But then it instantly made me think about what's to come next. There's talk already. I was going to talk about last night's game, but it's all irrelevant now. That podcast, I was contemplating putting it out still, and I thought, why? There's no point. There's no point now in me banging on about negative things about the result last night. I wanted to talk about the return of Xhaka coming back in the side and what people thought about that. I didn't like it. I thought it was embarrassing that without the guy apologising, and people keep taking it that I expect him to apologise to me. I've berated him for 3 years. He owes me nothing. Let's get that right. But he does owe an apology to the match-going fans that he spoke to like a piece of shit. He owes an apology to the club for throwing the armband down, taking the shirt off, reacting the way he did to jeers. It was pathetic. And I felt like we got more of the same from him last night. It was the return of him, and I thought, I knew he was going to play again because we're weak. We're weak as a club. So I knew he was going to get brought back into the setup at some point. And I knew it'd be one of these Europa League games where, away from home, I assumed it'd be, where they could sneak him in so there wasn't a ton of Arsenal fans to sort of give him shit. But last night it worked out that way anyway because there was no Frankfurt fans. Well, there was, but, not enough of them to make any difference. And then the Arsenal fans that were there wasn't really enough of them to make it known whether people accept him coming back or not. I don't accept it. I think, like I say, it's just another reason for me to look at the club and just go look at the state of us. For me, you should never have put a shirt on ever again. And last night, just more of the same. Unai talked about, excuse me, guys. This guy, when they asked him about what he brings to the team, he said he brings a shield to the back line. And that just made me laugh because it's like, well, that explains why we're so shit because this guy is who he expects to shield the back line. When he says all that and I take it into account and I think, right, well, that's his opinion. He's allowed it. And then he does something as strange as throws David Luiz in there as a centre defensive mid who's a defender. So it just made me think, well, you don't even believe in what you're saying yourself, mate. If you've believed Granit Xhaka is a great shield for our defence, then what you bringing a defender into the centre of the park for? Because you don't trust him. And like I say, same stuff from Xhaka for me again. I don't want to get embroiled in it. I'm trying to be positive this morning now that Unai's gone and look at look at things in a more positive light. But, you know, same stuff again. There was so many times, you know, people actually thought he was good last night, which fucking blows my mind. It really does stun me what some of you are watching, because all I saw was more of the same. The guy turning like a canal barge, fucking always looking to play it back to Leno or the defence. Doesn't matter. You know, the entire pitch can be wide open for 40 yards in front of him, two players out wide and one bombing through the middle. He would still pass it back to Leno. I cannot have the guy at the club. He is an absolute banter player. Honestly, when people talk about the likes of Santos, Sonogo, those, I honestly put that guy in this bracket. You know, and he just typified himself for me. You know, I said it last night, that free kick where it just dribbled in towards the edge of the box. And it's like, you can't even do that right, mate. How is he back on dead balls again? You know, then at the end of the game, the yellow card, I thought the referee giving a foul for his tackle was poor. I didn't see a foul in there at all. But then his reaction, the way he, like a petulant fucking baby, the same way as he's dealt with the stuff that went on with the jeering and you know, the online comments or whatever, he dealt with them incredibly badly. You know, I'm not somebody who justifies what the abuse he had online, but we don't even know if that was from an Arsenal fan. We don't know. All we do know is he turned on genuine Arsenal fans that are at the ground, that pay the money. That's why I'm angry. That's why I want him to apologise to those people. And he hasn't. So while he hasn't done that, I don't want him anywhere near our football club. We deserve better. You know, like I say, that petulant fucking throwing the ball down last night and he got a yellow card. And that's what bugs me with the dickhead, is that he'd have done that even if he was already on a yellow, because he's not clever enough to think. You know, I saw a lot of people getting upset last night about him laughing at the full-time whistle. I didn't see it, and I had a mate say to me, "You want to see this prick? Like, this sums up everything you say about him, mate, that he's just such a fucking absolute dickhead of a bloke." So I looked at it this morning, and I didn't like it, but I didn't like it I don't think it showed disrespect towards us. I don't think anyone should be laughing and fucking smiling, even if it's your mum, 5 minutes after a game like that. You know, you've got to look at our record, mate. You know, it's dreadful. It's fucking relegation stuff. You know, so just pick your times when to laugh and joke. No one's expecting you not to talk to your little fucking bum buddy from Germany, but pick a time to do it. This is my issue with him doing that last night, is how it's portrayed by fans. For a lot of fans like me, you've not apologised for what you've done, which was mugging off the fan base, undeservedly, in my opinion. Like I say, you attack the wrong people for me. So think about it, you thick-skulled fucking idiot. Think about it. Think, am I really in a position right now to do this, to behave this way? He's got no forethought in his mind at all. He just does what he wants, when he wants, because he doesn't fucking care. The guy doesn't give a flying shit. The sooner he fucks off back to Germany, the better. Honestly, I'll be impressed if we can find somebody that would pay us good money for that fucking layabout. He's useless. And that's what angered me about it. It showed he's either ignorant, his ego's too big, or he just doesn't fucking care. It's one of those things. It's not that it's just his mate, and the guy's a dickhead. He's a born dickhead. And honestly, I can't take our club seriously while there's people like him at it. I can't. It screams to me of, look how far we've fallen. I said it the other week when Tony Adams got interviewed, and he was saying, players should take the stick. You're happy to take the adulation, so you should be equally as happy to take the abuse when you're playing like shit. Take it on the chin. Don't react to it. Just take it. That's a proper captain. And that's what makes me look at, how did this guy become a captain? When Unai got interviewed after the game last night and they quizzed him about Xhaka and said, he looked injured before half time. Did you have a conversation with him about pulling him? And he said, well, I spoke to him and he said he wanted to play on. Well, you're the fucking manager, you dick. This is why Unai was done. You're the manager. I don't care what a player is telling you. If you can clearly see with your two fucking eyes that the guy is injured and incapable of performing at 100%, sub him off. Sub him off. Do him a favour. Because that didn't help him again last night. As much as I dislike Xhaka, letting him play the second 45 minutes, potentially injured, because he just showed himself up even more last night for me. And this is what I mean. We're letting players pick whether they play, whether they're injured or not. We're letting them pick who the fucking captain is. We're probably letting them pick what colour underwear fucking Unai wears every day. Honestly, it's so embarrassing how far we've fallen as a club. There's no structure at all. There's no respect for anybody. There's no one in charge. It's just a fucking absolute circus. Honestly, it reminds me of dropping a kid off at a play school in the morning. They're all just running about, and then you're going, he's the manager, he's this, he's that, and it's just fucking chaos. And, and these are people who are serious businessmen. It's so far removed from running a club in a normal way. It frightens me. Unai's gone. He had to go. It's the worst start to a season since 1982. It's 25 points in 20 games. It's not 2 clean sheets in 25 away games. No wins in 7. Less than 10 shots on target in nearly 8 hours of football. Why had it got to this point? This is, I said it yesterday about the Emery out protest. What's the point? What's the point? Why aren't we angry at the people that have allowed this to carry on to this point? Why aren't we looking at them for answers? Why? Because that's what I looked at straight away. Is why do we constantly, the same as what we did with Wenger, we let that go on for 5 to 6 years, too fucking long. And we've done the same with this guy. It's not gone on for years, but I think it's because we let them know under the Wenger situation, we won't allow it to happen again for years. We did it with him. We won't allow it again. And I think that was a good show last night. The ground was basically empty. I didn't think it was as empty as some of the games at the end of Wenger's era that I was at. I was a bit shocked it was as full as it was, although people probably see it different. But, it fucking, why was it got to that point where we're allowed to build up so much hatred rather than a sensible, rational decision being made based on facts, which are, like I say, I want to hear Raul or Josh or somebody answer. Now they've made a decision, come out and explain why it took so long to get to that point. Why? Because, you've got patient fans like myself and other people that will continue to go along with it up to a point. And then it's like, no, I want an explanation for why this has been allowed for so long, because it's not fucking acceptable. It's not. And I still want answers from them guys. Yes, we've got rid of Emery. That is something I'm supposed to be happy about. But it doesn't give me any good feelings about how this club is still going to move forward. My issues are still the same. We hounded Wenger out. We've hounded out Emery now a bit. Well, if it goes tits up with the next guy they pick, what are we going to do? Just keep hounding out managers? When are we going to take a look at these guys and say, what are you actually doing for this football club? Same as some of my sympathy towards Wenger is what were we doing to actually help that man succeed? Fuck all. We weren't helping him in the slightest. We were hindering him, if anything, selling our best players, never giving any money, hanging him out to dry, always expecting him to back everybody when no one's got his back. And we've done the exact same with Unai again. So that screams to me the board of dickheads. They don't know what they're doing. We have got clowns running the circus. I've seen knobhead fucking Ornstein talking this morning. The club went out and spent a fortune in the summer. We spent 13 million quid, mate. Get your facts right, you lazy prick. Do some proper journalism instead of feeding off Doris, the tea lady at the club, you wanker. Honestly, I'm sick of these fucking dicks being involved in our club. Fucking, honestly, when Gazidis went, he should have took Ornstein fucking with him, the silly arsehole. Honestly, I'm so annoyed. And like I say, my anger's not gone away just because Unai's left. I'm more irate at other people within the club. I don't like these to get shouty and sweary and angry, but I can't help how I feel. I didn't want to get into the name calling Unai. He just wasn't very good. There's no need to call him a Spanish fucking dickhead. I called him the Spanish Tony Pulis, but I don't think that's particularly derogatory. And if it is, it's towards Tony Pulis, not him. But, people constantly with the good Eberdeen stuff and all that, it's just no need for it. Let's just act with a bit more dignity and just move on now. He's gone. It's what we wanted, most of us. It's happened. Let's just forget about him now and look forward to what's going on. It's obviously, like I say, the news has come out that he's gone now. And the club have come out and made a statement that Freddie, he took over this morning. Unai was allowed to say his goodbyes or what have you, and he was pied off. And then it's going to be Freddie and Baldy taking over. I'm sure people aren't over the moon with that, but for me, it's the only logical move for the club at the moment. We're not, we know they were going to stand by Unai, hoping that he could turn things around. And a lot of people have said it about last night. That was Unai's game last night. It wasn't an Arsenal game. That was his game to show us your style, show us how things are going, and prove just for yourself, if for nobody else, that you are a capable manager that can put a team out there, play with a bit of lack of fear, and go out and get a result against a team, for me, that didn't turn up for 65 minutes of that match last night. It was that was close to the end for me last night. not supporting the club, but just having any sort of loving feelings left towards the club. I got very close to it at the end of Wenger. And I felt a bit of love coming back when they got rid of him, and it felt like they were trying to make a bit of a change, back room, on the pitch. And then it's just gone full circle again. I'm just back to feeling empty towards the club. My love for the club will never die, but my dislike for the club is incredibly strong at the moment, and I'm sure I'm not on my own with that. And it's really hard to just keep swallowing it. But they've come out and made the decision about Freddie and Boulder. Oh, welcome along, guys. I just assumed I was still doing this to myself. Irfan, mate, it's like I say, I feel conflicted. I'm happy he's gone, but I'm still not happy. Andrew, welcome, mate. I think our owners are simply not good enough. For me, Emery is not to blame, but players are simply not good enough. For me, I'd take Allegri, Poch, Benitez, or Rodgers. Yeah, mate, like I say, I think you're very naive to think that just getting rid of Unai, he's going to fix everything and we're going to get brilliant overnight. I think that is an absolute reach as well, mate. But I do think just in the short term, it'll help improve just a bit of morale. Maybe Freddie doesn't know his arse from his elbow. Rico, welcome along, my mate. Pleasure to have you on board. Maybe Freddie doesn't know his arse from his elbow. We don't really know if he's going to be any good. But what we do know is at least it'll bring a little bit of good feeling towards the club. Nobody's instantly going to jump on Freddie's back, unless you never saw him play, unless you don't really know the history of the club. But anybody my age and older, look at United. They're not in a much better situation than us at the moment. But I live in Manchester. I speak to a lot of Reds, and I don't know any of them that want rid of Ollie, purely because he is a legend there. So they will continue to give him chances. It might come to their detriment at some point, but it's not a bad thing that you keep giving a guy chances that you maybe owe it to. And I think that's what we'll get in Freddie just in the short term. And I thought it was very interesting that although they said they'd given it Freddie, they then went on to say that a recruitment search will now begin. And when we've found somebody as a proper replacement, they'll announce that. That'll be the next announcement. So it does seem like Freddie is going to be a very short-term appointment. I don't know what you guys think about that, whether, we should just give him the rest of the season to see if he's up to it or not, or we should instantly look for an upgrade. I believe we're in a situation at the moment where at the start of the season, I think we could have gone with Freddie. I think we could have gone with Arteta. The situation we're in now, I think we need a real big character that we know is a big character, not on assumptions, that can come in and really shake this show up. The players, look at the players last night. As much as they might be not feeling it at the moment, they've got to be held accountable because the performances they're putting in are disgusting. Regardless of how bad Unai's been, the players, there's nowhere to hide for them either. And I think that's something else we've got to look at now is the next few games. We're going to learn a lot about these guys. I said it when some of the guys under Wenger were underperforming, and I said, look, I blame Wenger for a lot of that. Let's see what they're like under a new coach. Well, now I've seen them under a new coach, and they're still not fucking good enough. And then I think, well, is that down to Unai again? So now a lot of these, I'm going to give them another chance under another manager. But if they underperform under Freddie, I'm not going to keep asking for another manager. I'm going to ask for new players because they're clearly not good enough. I'm not of that mindset yet. I think they've just down tools because that's their only way. As players, what options have you got to show your discontent? You either stop playing for the manager or you go to your agent and say, go and tell the powers that be that I don't want to be at this club anymore and explain to them why I don't want to be anymore and basically give them an ultimatum. I don't like that, but I'd prefer it over them just not playing because I just don't know. It's such a tricky situation because the thing is then if they are playing well and, and we're getting results, then he stays. It's just such a tricky situation. Sorry, Andrew, just reading your comment, mate. Yeah, I'm going to talk about managers in a minute, potentials. But, I found it a bit of a joke that this happened on Black Friday. For Arsenal, it's become Sack Friday, hasn't it? It's just, were we getting a discount on getting rid of him today? I just don't know. I just don't know. But, the players are not good enough. And like I say, for me now, there's a lot of pressure on them where, right, you've down tools to get rid of him. So now I want to see you pick them back up and play for the fans now. Play for the fans and play for Freddie. Let's see you've got something about you lot. Because I'm sure I'm not the only person that when they scored last night turned the telly off and thought, well, I know what the final scoreline's going to be. It won't be us coming back and winning this game. It will only be this going from a draw to a loss because these lot are fucking spineless. So it's up to them now to prove themselves. Or I want to see them get the same shit as Unai's had because they've got to be held accountable at some point. Like I say, a lot of my anger is aimed at the board. I want some answers from them. They gave it all the fucking chat at the start of the season. Josh with his get excited shit. This is why, I watched Arsenal Fan TV last night, and it's not something I normally do to try and gauge a reaction. But I've got to admit, it sort of brought a tear to my eye watching Lee Judges. I don't know if any of you guys saw it, but he sort of expressed exactly how I feel in the way that this club is nothing like what I fell in love with. It is nothing like it. Not at all. There's no even remote resemblance for me at this club now as to what I fell in love with. Nothing. It's completely unrecognisable to what I fell in love with. And you can maybe take that on the chin. Times change, things change. You have to accept those. But I think why people take it so hard is because of the lies, the constant lies. They're being told we're leaving to go to a big brand new stadium to compete with the world's best. Didn't happen. We won't have to sell our best players anymore. Didn't happen. This is going to happen. That's going to happen. They came through on none of it. If you guys know of one thing that the board has promised us that they've actually come through on, please let me know, because I was really trying to think of one last night to give them some credit, and I couldn't think of anything to give these guys any credit at all. Like I say, it's made me look more deeply now into your Raúls, your Vinais. You guys know, if you watch this regularly, I said it when I analysed those videos in the summer, and I said it just feels like businessman spiel to me. Feels like very businessman, just fucking empty businessman spiel, just business jargon, just words, no real feeling, love behind it. Oh, Rico, you saw it. Yeah, it was awful, mate. It broke my heart. You could see the upset in the guy when he was talking. You could see how fucking frustrated he was. For Lee Judges to say he's jealous of Spurs, I'm not sure he meant it in that way in the heat of the moment. But for somebody like him to say he feels, jealous towards those fucking tin pot wankers down the road, it really hurts me. I don't care about the board. I don't care about the players. I care about fellow fans. And when I see fellow fans like that I can identify with, heartbroken, it pushes my buttons. I watched that video last night and it made me feel like getting in my car, driving to Emirates and torching the fucking place. It really did. Or finding out where Josh lives and knocking on his door and wanting some answers. It's that's what upsets me. It's what it's doing to the fans. Fans talking, saying that I want us to get beat. I want this to happen just so he's gone. That breaks my heart that people have to think like that. I don't get mad at it. It upsets me that the club has pushed them to that point to even contemplate thinking like that. It's such a mess. It's such an absolute mess. Like I say, the board are accountable. I feel like now fans, it's our time. We've wanted rid of Emery. He's now gone. So now it's for us to step up, get behind, put your wants and fucking fantasies down. I say it all the time. Don't think about what you want. Think about what the club needs. And what the club needs right now is some stability. So rather than now spending your next fucking week, 2 weeks, however long it goes on for, saying, I want this manager, I want that manager, just talk about getting behind the one that's going to be in charge. Let's just get behind Freddie. Let's just get behind the boys. Let's enjoy this weekend now. Let's go to Norwich, full of fucking singing, full of beer, enjoy that game and pummel these pricks. Let's go and make this happen. Let's get behind Freddie. He's not my idea of the ideal signing, but I do think it's the most logical appointment at this moment in time, because I don't want them to knee-jerk and rush getting another guy in just because we're all heaping pressure on and we're impatient. I would rather, even if Freddie bombs out, I would rather that for 7 months and we get the right guy than chucking someone in now and they bomb out in 7 months and it gets to the summer and we're going, well, we need another manager again. Let's spend some time over this recruitment process because it seems like we didn't spend much getting Emery in. There's been talk that we drew up a list, but he wasn't even on it, but he ended up getting picked because he's got a PowerPoint presentation. This is what still makes me nervous, is is this board capable of getting a decent manager in, getting somebody that's a right fit? You know, we could get a brilliant manager in, but if they're not a good fit for the club, they're not going to be brilliant. They need to identify the right person, and it's going to tell me a lot how these guys go about it and who they bring in, whether they actually care or not about what is happening at this club, because we have been going downhill now. For me, you know, it's no coincidence that we've been going downhill, and my love for this club has been disappearing since the day that whippy-tash wanker Stan Kroenke walked into the club. Since the day he came in, I've had negative feelings towards this club. I don't feel like we've ever really been competitive since he's been here. I don't ever really feel like we've been at challengers for anything. You can say we've won FA Cups, but, you know, what do you fucking do? That's not good enough for me. We're Arsenal. You know, we are the Arsenal. We're too big to just be winning a couple of FA Cups in 10 fucking years. It's not good enough. And it's become acceptable, this shit. But I think I've said it, I can't get mad at fans for being spineless, because it's this club. It's sucked the fucking soul out of everybody for so long. You know, nobody's got any self-esteem anymore. Nobody's got any respect for the club anymore. It's pathetic. You know, like I say, players now, pressures on them. Board now, pressures on them. Fans now, we've got what in the main we were universally wanted. Pressures on us now to step up. You know, looking at potential managers. Pochettino, you know, his name keeps creeping up. I don't know what to make of him. You know, it's amazing how many people are saying they want Poch in, but to me, these are the exact same people that said because he's not won anything, he's a no-mark manager. You can't have it both ways. You can't banter him while he's at Spurs and then say he's the best thing since sliced bread if he joins us. I'm not a fan that equates being a good manager to winning stuff, because there's plenty of good managers out there that haven't won a fucking thing. It doesn't mean that they're not good. It just means they're not in the right vehicle to show it. You know, Eddie Howe could be the best manager in the world, but he's not won anything. Doesn't mean he's shit, because he's done an incredible job with Bournemouth. You know, Chris Wilder, look at the job he's been doing at places. His record is exemplary. Doesn't mean he's not a good manager because he's not won a Champions League. You've got to think about what you're saying. You know, absolute flip flops. You know, who said these things about Poch and now they want him in, but they called him a serial loser. Get a grip of yourselves, honestly. I'd be quite happy if he came in, because I rate him. I think he's a very good manager. I think he'd get quite a bit more backing than he got at Spurs at our place as well. Yeah, I think he could maybe do some damage. Allegri, for me, is the obvious standout. You know, there's been talk this morning, people saying we've contacted him and he's very interested in taking up the project. Then there's another report come out that said he said no, he's not interested. So who fucking knows? As if we can trust journalists. Nuno, again, they're saying that there was a guy, he was a Wolves journalist, came out yesterday and said that no, not happening. But then these reports come out this morning that, you know, we're after him strongly. Arteta's name gets banding about, but I don't think we're in any position to have somebody like him. I don't think he's a strong enough character yet, or carry enough clout and respect for what we need. We don't just need to start playing better football. There's a lot of shit going on at the club needs sorting out, and I don't think he's got the all-round game yet. I don't think he's well-rounded enough to be big enough. He's not got broad enough shoulders for me to carry our shit at the minute. Gallardo, I've seen more reports this morning of clubs being really interested in him. He'd be a real interesting one for me. He'd be a sort of a bit of an unknown punt, but could be absolutely brilliant. Vieira, again, probably not my idea of manager, but I don't think he'd take shit, and I think we might play better football. Is that enough? Who knows? Ancelotti, again, his name's popped up. Is he good enough? I would say most definitely. He's another manager for me. He carries a lot of clout. These were players, liking Instagram posts telling each other to fuck off or someone's shit or whatever. I don't see any of that happening under a man like him, because they know the feet wouldn't touch the ground. It's the same as, when Xhaka did what he did, when Unai tried to sort of pat him on the back when he went off. That said to me a lot about the respect levels at this club, because if that was Granit Xhaka and it was Brian Clough or fucking Fergie, his feet wouldn't have touched the ground the minute he took the armband off. The manager would have gone on the pitch, grabbed him by the scruff of his neck or by the throat and dragged him off and literally thrown him out the nearest fire escape and said, "Don't show your face here ever again." it just screams a lack of control and a lack of responsibility and respect at the club. It's embarrassing, and that's something we need back quick for me. So for me, I think the shouts are Poch, Allegri, Nuno, Gallardo, Ancelotti at the minute. I think that's where we should be looking. But I do think we might be missing the trick if we don't give Freddie some respect and give him a chance to maybe keep the job. Maybe he doesn't quite want it yet. I'd love to know what the conversations have been this morning, and ideas of how we go forward. I'd love to know who's pulling for who. Who does Vinay want? Who does Raul want? Who does Josh want? Have they even got any thoughts on it? Are they just going to go blank slate in an interview process? It's just like I say, there's so much going on. We can just look at in the short term. All we really need at the minute is just a better atmosphere, a style of play, a bit of identity, a bit of fight, and let's just turn the results around on the pitch. Then I think then we've got to start looking at, external issues, off-pitch issues. What is going on with this board? Why are they so, reactionary? Why are they never proactive? Why do they never react on something before it gets to a point where it gets totally toxic? Was there any need for us to all get to this point where we sort of hate Unai and we're saying good evening and mocking him, and people are calling him the Spanish Dracula and all sorts? It shouldn't be let to get to that point, and I can't get mad at fans for getting angry when it gets to that point. I can't. I struggle to blame the fans on that front. I think it's disrespectful, but I don't blame them. I really don't. But I'm of the mindset of, fans pay a lot of money. They invest a lot of emotions and feelings and the time into it. And I think if I'm as okay with booing as I am with cheering. I don't like the idea of booing your own fans, but I'm not going to tell somebody to sit down if they are doing it. That's their choice. That's how they want to express themselves. It's not how I'd go about it, but I can't be mad at somebody for feeling that way and just letting their frustration out. I can't. But it's back to the same thing. Who's actually good enough for us lot? Who would you like to say some of those names I've listed? Pochettino to a lot of people. Well, he's been at Spurs. Fuck him. I don't want to see him on this side of the road. Allegri, he doesn't speak very good English. Blah 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 blah. He's a defensive manager, so he's not good enough. Nuno, he's only at Wolves. He's not very. Doesn't get me excited, that name. No, don't want him. Arteta has got no CV at all. That's underwhelming. Gallardo, never heard of him. I don't want him. Vieira's not doing well at Nice. No, I don't want him. Ancelotti, it's not going great at Napoli. Don't want him. Guys, tell me who is actually good enough to do this job? Because as far as I'm concerned at the moment, no one's good enough. The Wales lot are talking. No one's good enough. I'm trying to be pretty level-headed about how I'll accept any of them fucking names, because I just think we need somebody to just steady the ship. That's why I'm all right with Freddie. Like I say, it's not my ideal appointment. I don't see him as being the manager in 5 years' time, but if he turns out to be that way, I'd be delighted. It's a real tricky one. I mean, have you guys got any questions you want to talk about? Because that's sort of, I've rattled through everything I had going on in my head. Let's have a look at some of your comments. Yeah, Irfan, mate, I think, honestly, anybody who cares about the club felt like that. That's how I felt like that. Like last night, I didn't know if I wanted to put my hand through the wall or just climb in the cupboard and cry. And I don't want to just accept it without letting it be known that we're upset. That's what's bothering me. I don't know how to express my upset in a correct manner without just going out and beating people up or just smashing the shit out of everywhere. It's not good. Andrew, what are you saying there, my mate? You feel Poch would be a good fit for us? It's just our owners. To me, Emery wasn't backed by the board. He wanted Zaha, board bought Pep. So if the board back him, I'd be happy. See, it all comes back to the board. It's the board. That's who we've got to start looking at. I mentioned it on a podcast the other day, and a mate said to me, if the board, the minute Kroenke had come in, and once we've got to a sustainable point with the stadium, if he'd have said, right, Arsene, you're going to get 100 million every window to keep improving this club, to back up what we said to the fans about getting us back to elite football, we'd have never have got to this point. We'd never have had to have hounded out. I honestly believe this. We'd never have got to a point of hounding out one of our greatest managers ever. It'd have never have got to that point. It's disgusting. And now we've just done the exact same with somebody who I consider a decent manager. I don't think Unai's a world beater, but I don't think he's a donkey. I just think this club sucked the life out of him, the same as it's doing the rest of us. That guy came in confident. You know, I think some of us, even if you weren't sure he was the right man, you were confident that we might go forward. And within months, it fell apart again. And I'm not sure, you know, I think a lot of us that are level-headed look at this club and go, what needs sorting straight away? It's the mentality at the club. There's a loser's mentality. There's a weak will at the club. No one seems to have a spine or a backbone. You know, it's fucking awful. And for me, that's what needs addressing. You know, you can, like I say, you can play better football. Go and get Arteta, and we start playing like Pep's teams. It's not going to fix the club. It's just going to mask it again. It's going to mask over all the actual problems. And then when it does start going wrong, we're just going to get in the same situation again. Nothing's going to get fixed. Yeah, Rico, you have a bit of a similar fear with me. You know, with the Spurs stuff, you know, they were there and they capitulated very much like an Arsenal team when it came to it. But, you know, can you blame Poch for that? Is it that they've just got a squad full of players with a weak mentality, a loser's mentality? Quite possibly. You know, do they have any born winners in their side? I can't think of a single Spurs player that's actually won anything. So, you know, you've got nobody to lean on. You know, we did have a few players like that, you know, knew what it was like to win an FA Cup, but it's an FA Cup. I don't think that means as much to, you know, not to be racist, but non-English players. I think that's more of an English thing, that English people love the FA Cup, the magic of the FA Cup. I'm not sure everybody else cares that much. I think a lot of people just see it like the Carabao Cup. It's just a bit of a tin pot, you know, consolation trophy. If you know, that's what you go for if you're not good enough to compete for the league or the European stuff. I don't know. Maybe that's a bit derogatory, but it's just how I feel. But that does make me nervous about Poch. Is he strong enough mentally? You know, has he got, you know, the skills to pay the bills? I just don't know. He wouldn't be my first choice at all. I don't think he'd be in my top 5 choices. Yeah, I mean, Andrew, that's the thing. Like, you know, I just said it then. You know, maybe the board here would back Poch more than the Spurs board backed him. But what evidence are we basing that on? We're basing that on hope. We hope that the board would back him, but what evidence have we actually got to base that on? Nothing. Because look at our previous managers, didn't back Wenger. You know, you can say that they've spent money and backed Emery, but they haven't really, because we spent 13 million quid in the last window. They just blagged us with the fact that, you know, they rammed 72 million pound Pep down our throats, but, you know, they forget to mention that they got 45 million quid for Iwobi. You know, that really offset things. It's a shame that they couldn't go and do what they did and then spend some money. Why couldn't they have spent 100 million of their own money? And it just comes back to the same thing for me. It's just the guy doesn't care. He just doesn't care. Look at what he does when he does care about one of his franchises. He cares about the Nuggets in the basketball. They've got a lot better over the last 2 years. They used to be a banter side. They're not anymore. They've got some of the best players in the NBA. You know, look at the Rams banter club until he turned up. You know, he shows that he doesn't care about fans. He's moved them across states. You know, that's against the will of the people, and a large, you know, much bigger base of fans than what we've got. You know, match going fans. That's upsetting a state. You know, not just 60,000 people. That's upsetting an entire community. He didn't bat an eyelid, but look, when he does care, you know, he's pumping. It looks like it might be 6 billion into that stadium. Why can't he pump 200 million into Arsenal? And all I come back to every time is that he just doesn't care. He just doesn't care. I think it's just a nice little, Arsenal's just a nice little pin badge to put on his lapel, you know. And I always say this about a lot of owners, is you don't buy football clubs to make money. You buy them as a status symbol. You buy them as a bragging right, you know, to go to your dinner parties. And, you know, somebody says something to you, oh, this is Stan? Oh, yes, do you not know me? Oh, you're English? I own Arsenal, don't you know? You know, it's that sort of thing for me. It's one-upmanship. You can't come into football clubs to make money, because it doesn't work like that unless you buy in right at the bottom and work it to something good. And the only reason that's worked with these guys, with Arsenal, is because we have a very loyal, dedicated fan base that no matter how much of a prick we all think he is, we love the club, and despite him, we will continue to turn up week in, week out, watch week in, week out, and continue to get behind the club, even though we hate that man and we think that might mean he stays here. We just can't stop it. But, you know, that's like somebody who in your private life is a really nice person. Don't abuse that they're a nice person. Cherish that. Don't then take the piss out of them because you know they're nice. Cherish the fact that they're nice and love that. And that's what I feel with this guy. He's using it against us. He's using our love for the club as a way to basically stick two fingers up at us and say, fuck you. I will do nothing for you, and you muggy arseholes will continue to watch, tune in, pay your memberships, pay your season tickets, pay on the gate, ask your mates to take. However you go about it, you will continue to support this club no matter what I do, because you are all wet-backed fucking idiots. And that is honestly what I think this guy thinks of us lot. I honestly do. Yeah, Andrew, that's the point I'm making. You know, I said it the other day on a podcast. We can't keep going with this. He's not good enough. He's not good enough. He's not good enough. Somebody can be underwhelming. Doesn't mean they're not good enough. You can't be writing people off straight away. You know, I made the point, like I say, on a podcast about, well, the way some Arsenal fans think they could never run a business and promote somebody because they just think, right, well, you know, how does anybody, if I'm, I don't know, sales staff, how do I become a supervisor? I can't prove to you I'm good at being a supervisor because I've never been one. All I can show you is that my sales record is good enough to suggest I could be a supervisor. But until you give me the chance, you can't find that out. You know, fucking fans that aren't just willing to give. And, you know, we've come out of a really shit situation. Now, let's just give anybody a chance. You know, I don't care if we get Neil Warnock in right now. That is massively underwhelming to me. But I'm not going to write him off straight away because he could be brilliant. I just don't know. You know, we're basing a lot of this on opinions and not very much of it on facts. Irfan, this is the thing. We don't know if Arteta's not good enough, do we? That's the thing. Arteta could come in and be absolutely brilliant and set the world alight. We can't base it on anything because there's no facts to it. It's all assumptions, and that's what I don't like. That's why I wouldn't pick him. It's not because I don't think he could be a brilliant manager. He could be better than Pep, but I don't think we're in a position to take that risk at the moment. I don't. Rico, yeah, that's what I would be looking for, is someone who is a no-nonsense personality, and that's why I like the idea of Santos, Nuno Santo, because I can't see that man. Look at his face. His face looks like he doesn't take shit. You know, Ancelotti is another one. Like Conte was one for me, but it's a shame he's doing well at Milan at the minute. You know, and I don't think he enjoyed his time in England too much. But that's who I think we need, is someone. That's what I'd be going for, is a massive personality. As much as I don't like Jose and I don't want him at the club, I think he could have worked, at least in the time he'd have been here. He'd have weeded out the arseholes, the weak-willed ones. I think, you know, the way he is as a person would have weeded them out naturally, and that's why I could have got behind him a little bit. I don't like the stuff he'd said about us, but that would have helped me get over, you know, the stuff he'd said, is that I think he could have weeded out a lot of shit. Rico, Tony Adams is a manager. You know, he was a manager. He just did very badly. I can't get on board with that, mate. I don't think he would be a very good manager, but I do think it's a shame that we had one of the greatest defences, you know, world renowned to a lot of people, and we don't lean on any of them. You know, we've got Boldy at the club. Is he actually getting involved in training? Is he having any input? Because it's all good and well, you know, you've got Tony Adams sat there telling us this is how we should defend, this is what's poor. You've got Martin Keown on telly telling you the same. You've got Lee Dixon doing the same. Why aren't we getting any of these guys to show us on the pitch? You know, it baffles me. What have you said there, Rico? Si, which players do you think we should get in this January? I think more for me, again, it's more what we get out. I felt like that in the last window. I said we need to get sort of 10 players out and 5 players in. And I feel very much the same. I'm sort of looking at our squad. you know, I go through them. I think Martinez and Leno are fine. I said that at the start. I think that's a position we don't have to think about for a while. I really do. Right back, we need a backup right back. You know, maybe we need a first choice right back. I don't know with Hector anymore. I'm so undecided with him now. I don't know what to make of him anymore. I don't know what your guys' thoughts are on Bellerin at the minute, but he's just, I don't know with him anymore. I don't know if I'm behind him anymore. I don't know if I've got any feelings towards him. I don't know if I even think he's good anymore. I don't know. But, you know, apart from that, we haven't got another right back. Centre backs is our massive problem. We've got loads of very average centre backs. It kills me to admit it, but Louise, average. Socrates, average. Holding, average. Chambers, average. Mustafi, average. That's a massive fucking problem. You know, and it's the same as about us being snobbish again. We all turn, you know, so many people turn their noses up at the idea of Evans and Soyuncu. No one's turning the nose up at that now. Now they can see they're doing well at Leicester. So sometimes you do just have to take a chance and put your pretenses to one side and just get behind it. You know, we're all the best, you know, championship manager fucking players in the world. But really, none of us know shit, do we? And it's shown by, if you go back and look at comments we make. I've done it loads of times where I've embarrassed myself in the past with stuff I've said. You know, but I'm not a manager. I don't get paid millions a year to manage. It's why, because my opinions are shit. But, you know, centre-backs, that's a massive... We need some real physical, proper players. You know, that's where I'd be looking. Go and get Koulibaly and Upamecano. Get some real physical monsters in this team, because that's what scares me. Is I think every team looks at us now like, you know, if it was a pub car park fight, all of you wouldn't even sup your pints and go outside. Just one of you go outside and say, you know, you'd sup it and you go, you go and deal with these fucking 12-year-olds out there, will you, mate? We don't need to bother coming with you, do we? And that's how it feels, how most teams look at us now. I think they see us as a side and a squad of petulant babies that'll throw the toys out of the pram rather than dig in and fucking fight for the cause. That's a massive issue for me. Left back Turney, good enough. It's a shame we've got him. You know, he's another one that felt the same comments as I said about a few players last year. Go and play somewhere else. You deserve better than this shit. Kolasinac, we probably need a backup left back. Although I think he can just about do a job. It's not really a main priority. Centre of the park, again, he's a massive problem. Xhaka, worse than average. Torreira, as it stands at the moment, average. Guendouzi, as it stands at the moment, average. Ceballos, as it stands at the moment, average. Ozil, as it stands at the minute, average. El Neni, still at the club, average. There's our problems. You know, I said it, and I've been saying it for a long time. It's no surprise to me that we got shit when we stopped having a spine in a side. Go and find me one league winning side, one Champions League winning side that don't have a good goalkeeper, centre-back, centre-mid and striker running right through the team. Since we've not had that, we've been shit. You know, we look back and we've had, fucking hell, it hurts, but, you know, Almunia in net, Mertesacker at centre-back and fucking Coquelin in the middle of the pitch and fucking Bentner up front, and we wonder why we've turned to shit. You know, it's no surprise for me. Wingers in attack, I think we're well stocked. I think we could get away with playing youth up top, but I think we need two centre midfielders and two centre backs, and I think they need to be tough tackling, no nonsense players, proper old school. Just get your head in, hurt someone, oof it. You know, no fancy shit. I don't need them to be footballers. I don't need them to have a long passing range or, you know, nice hair. I don't give a shit. They just need to be able to win the ball and fucking play it to the people who then we employ to play football. You know, all this shit about playing out from the back and everyone's got to be a footballer. It's not good enough for me. I'm done with it. You know, I've been saying it about Aubameyang. When I say we should sell him, people say you're mental. I'm not mental at all. I'm just looking at the bigger picture. Guy's 31. He's not going to be here for ages. He's not someone we can build a side round. So the one thing he is a valuable asset. So let's use that, because I'm sure for the money we would get for him, we could spread it out around the team where we would be better as a whole rather than having one main focus point. You know, he is like the spearhead, and I don't think he's a very good one. He scores goals. I said it last year, about 14 months ago. As soon as the goals dry up for him, he's on the chopping block because he does nothing else. You know, you look at that game last night, they weren't in that game for 60 minutes. Did he look like? Did you? Were you sat there going, "God, I'm glad our captain's on the pitch. This man is a leader amongst boys here. This guy will carry us to a result." No, do you fuck? I mean, he got the goal, but that goal only came because Saka had a swing and a miss at it. And that goal only came because we've got a very good young kid playing on right wing. Not good enough. Not good enough for me. And I think we would be much better. I think we'd be better as a side if we used Laka as our focus point, someone who grafts for the team. We start playing Pep as our replacement for Aubameyang. We give one of the kids a chance on the other side, and we spend the Aubameyang money on a centre-back, or a centre-back at a centre defensive mid, or on a centre defensive mid. I don't think we need to replace his goals. I don't. I really don't. Because you can win games 1-0 every week. You don't need a 30-goal a season striker. What you do need is defenders that can defend, and you're not letting 30 goals a season in at the other end. That's how you start winning stuff, not by scoring 5 goals every week. So I don't buy that. It don't wash for me. It's coming up about this contract stuff. I'd just get rid of him. I think he's a nice character. I think he's a lovely bloke, but I don't see him as a leader. I think he's another one. It makes the captaincy embarrassing for me. I just can't, and then you had Socrates come out and say, there's no point in this captaincy stuff. That tells you everything about this club. Because I'd be amazed if a player at any other club came out and said the captain doesn't matter. It's just Holiday Camp FC still, Butlins FC, as I keep saying, and I've been saying for years. Andrew and Didi, great shout. It's just whether we could actually go and get him, I doubt it. We've got these players like Sangare out there who are in a very similar mould that we could actually go and get. Definitely. But that's the type of player I'm talking about, a physical beast. Torreira, I was happy when we got Torreira because I thought, yes, we've got a tackling midfielder, but he's diminutive. I want it to go back to when you looked at the side and you've got, Colo Torre, Sol Campbell, Patrick Vieira, the ball, teams are looking at us and they're in the tunnel and they're sort of going, fuck me, we're playing this lot this week. Now they're going, we're playing this lot this week. That's how I feel teams look at us now. We're like a fucking pygmy FC. There's no real big, strong men in our team anymore. I honestly think I could put out a side of under-10s that wouldn't be scared of playing this lot. I wouldn't be scared of playing this lot. And they've got a lot more talent than I've got, but I wouldn't be scared of playing them. Because I know if I just got stuck into them, I wouldn't need the talent. Just get stuck into them and they'll buckle. As soon as it's not going their way, they will buckle. Yeah, Decore, again, great shout. I think it's more realistic to try and get him than Ndidi, but I think it's hard to buy from Premier League sides. It doesn't matter who it is. Everybody's cash rich now in the Premier League. I think if you wanted anybody from Norwich, they'll want 40 million quid out of you to start off with. So that's my problem. I think it'd be easier to talk Decore out of Watford than it would to talk Ndidi out of Leicester. But do I think they'd want less than 50 or take less than 50 million quid? No. Do I think we'll pay 50 million quid? No. So I can't really think about players like that. That's why, like I say, I turn to Sangares, Sumares, players like that we could actually get. They're coming to the end of contracts. Similar to Upamecano. That's why I think we can go and get him. He's not got long left on his contract. I think they made a mistake not taking 50 or 60 million from us at the end of the window, because I think we'll be able to try and buy him in January or at the end of this season for a lot less. I think he's someone we could realistically get for sort of 30 or 40 million. This might be one of those that we come back and look at in 6 months' time and I go, what an idiot, I was talking shit. He went to PSG for 80 million, but from what I've seen, whether it's true or not, he's someone we could go and get. Like I said it about Johnny Evans. I thought that 3 million quid for him was a brilliant deal. And I look now and I go, who've we got as a centre back that's better than Johnny Evans? No one. We haven't got a single centre back better than him. This is what I mean. We've got to stop with always wanting glamorous names and get, I always say it, substance over style every time, absolutely every time. So guys, what do you think we need? Let's not look at the backroom stuff. Let's get away from the backroom stuff. Just front of house. I'm going to give you guys an endless budget, but it has to be somebody realistic, somebody that we could actually go and get. Name me the manager you'd have right now, the manager you'd go and get, and the 2 players that you'd go and get. I'd love to know what you guys think, but try and make them realistic, please. I'll have a mouthful of my brew while you cogitate, ruminate, and have a think about that. But I'd love to know what you guys think. Because that's where I'd be at, dream-wise, I'd be... Yeah, I get your point, Andrew, but I think this is the problem now. Is I think we see a different Arsenal to what everybody else sees because we love the club. I think we find it hard to accept that we're a bit banterous. I don't think anybody outside of Arsenal takes Arsenal particularly seriously anymore. That's what upsets me. I don't think many players are looking at us anymore and going, "I want to play for the Arsenal." I don't. And that really doesn't sit well with me. And I hate bad mouthing the club, but I just can't imagine that there's any kids growing up at the moment that aren't London based that are waking up and dreaming about, I want to play for Arsenal. I think there was fucking thousands of them 10 years ago. I don't think there's any now. I think now the kids are looking and going, I want to play for Bayern, I want to play for Barca, I want to play for PSG, I want to play for Man City, I want to play for Liverpool. I don't see anybody wanting to play for Arsenal at all, unless you've got some sort of connection. Your dad's a fan, your family are a fan, you live close by, you had a trial there 20 years ago. I don't know, but I don't think we're that big of a draw anymore. Raul said it, didn't he? When Arsenal knock, it's a different knock. Now, at the moment, that feels like, that different knock means you slide the bolts across and you shut the curtains and you wait till they fuck off. That's how it feels to me at the minute, and I don't like being like that. But I've lost all confidence in this club being what we all fell in love with. Being something that people respect and love and enjoy. I haven't seen that for a long time. Maybe I'm being overly harsh, but I just don't see it. Have you guys got any other questions you want to fire in? Because I might wrap this up soon. We've nearly been running for an hour. And, it's been the same again. It's just been an angry mank ranting. And I hate when my channel turns into this. You guys know I enjoy laughing and joking and having a crack with you and, trying to put a positive spin on things and have a bit of fun. But, I mean, Andrew, if we went and got that lot, I'd say we were straight away title challengers. But Ancelotti, would he be looking at his situation at Napoli at the minute and going, I want to go to Arsenal? I doubt it, but he'd be a very strong shout for me. And Didi, he's not going to leave Leicester to come to us, I wouldn't have thought. Van Dijk, that upsets me. I was working on Scottish football at the time when he was at Celtic, and we could have got that guy. He'd have jumped at the chance to join us. Very similar to how Turney did. He'd have jumped at the chance to join us from Celtic for about 10 to 20 million quid. And we once again sat with our thumbs up our arses and waited till somebody else. And now we have to watch him play for Liverpool. And people talk about him as the best centre-back in the world. It fucking rips my heart out. I know, I'm sorry, mate. I sort of said two things then. I'm flip-flopping now. I sort of said endless budget, but try and be realistic. That's what I was saying. I'll give you as much money as you want, but make them players that would actually want to come to the club, or we could actually feasibly go and get. It's a bit of a double-edged question, that really. Sorry, mate. I didn't mean to upset you, but it's tricky because, like I say, if we had an endless budget, then I would definitely go and buy a right back, a left back, two centre backs, two centre mids, and a winger, and possibly a replacement striker for Aubameyang. And you look at that list of players that we could get rid of. Maitland-Niles, you could probably get 10 or 15. I'd hate to see him leave, but we could probably get 10 or 15 million for him. Socrates, you could probably get 5 to 10 million. Louise, 5 to 10 million. Mustafi, 10 to 15 million. Chambers, 10 to 20 million. Holding, 10 to 20 million. Kolasinac, 10 to 15 million. El Nene, 5 to 10 million. Xhaka, 10 to 20 million. Torreira, 20 to 30 million. Ozil, maybe 10 million, just get his wages off the books. Mkhitaryan, 10 to 20 million. Aubameyang, maybe 50 to 60 million. There's the best part of 200 million that we could instantly pump back in. And we wouldn't have to replace all of them. We just have to spend well. I do believe we've got too big a squad. Would I sign Vardy? No. Just because of his age. I want to see us build, and that's what I keep looking at, is what players can we say, right, you're here for 5 years, and in those 5 years, we are going to try and build towards winning the league. Vardy would be like Aubameyang. Well, I wouldn't get rid of Aubameyang to get Vardy, because it'd just be the same scenario for me, the exact same problem. You know, I look at Leno and I go, right, we've got him now for his prime. We can build a team around him for 5 years. Bellerin, I'm not sure about him at the minute, but he's a player we could start to build a team around for the next 5 years. You know, whatever you guys' thoughts are on Holding and Chambers, they could be a part of the squad for the next 5 years. Turner, first team starter for the next 5 years, build a team around him. Torreira, possibly build a team around him. You know, Guendouzi, build a team around him. Like Martinelli, build a team around him. But the others, I don't see much value in them. I don't. Lacazette's the only one that I'm unsure about because of his age, whether we could actually get away with building a squad around him. I don't know. That's for me the way we've got to go now, is try and build for something longer term than just short term fixes. You know, we keep seeing that in the signings, and a lot of the signings we make, they've tried to be sort of mixing it up. You know, getting some older experience for the short term and then younger for the long term. I just don't think we're quite doing it clever enough. I don't know. I'm struggling. I still feel empty, guys. I want to be delighted that Emery's gone, and I'm still not feeling it. I'm not. We've just got over the hour mark, guys, so I think I'm going to call that a day. I'm sure you guys have got better things to do than sit listening to me. Although I massively appreciate you coming along. You know, keep supporting, please, guys. And I really want to get some of you guys on. I want some of you guys to help me do some player ratings and, you know, help me answer questions from the rest of you. So please, if you're open to it, you know, you don't have to show your face. I can put you on one of these where it's, you know, it's just your voice. You know, we can have a chat and practice first if you're worried about it, but never be shy to give your opinions, guys. Never, you know, whether you think they're shite or not, you still need to be heard. So right, guys, I'm going to call it that a day. I hope you've enjoyed, guys. It's been a pleasure. Thank you for joining me. Take it easy. Si signing out. Have a lovely weekend. Come on, let's smash Norwich at weekend. I'm actually looking forward to a game. Yeah, Rico, mate, I'm the exact same. I think that's just what we needed. You know, whether Freddie's good or not, we just needed that lift in spirits of just that weight of our shoulder and just let's go again. Let's now try again. Let's see if Freddie's good enough. And until he shows he isn't, let's back him. Let's just back him blindly, because he could be the new best big new thing. He could be the best manager the world's ever seen. None of us know until we give him a chance. So let's do that. And let's just get back. You know, let's put our pretenses to one side. You know, me with my Xhaka bashing, I'm not going to be doing it. I think it's disgusting he's still at the club, but I'm just getting behind the team now, because I want to feel good about weekends. I want my week to be where I'm going, right, what day do Arsenal play? What time do Arsenal play? Right, where will I be at that time? How can I get out of what I'm doing to watch Arsenal? How can I get round these things? You know, oh, it's my nan's funeral, right? Well, how do I get, you know, my phone in my pocket in my black suit, you know, to watch it while it's the wake? You know, I used to be like that, and I've not felt like that for years. Now I'll find any excuse not to watch us. So I want to flip the coin again and go back to enjoying us. So that's what I'm going to do this weekend. I don't care if we get beat 6-0 by Norwich. I want to just see something different. I want to see the team play like they care and play like they're organised and play like something goes on down at the training ground from Monday to fucking Friday. That's all I want in the short term for the minute. Everything else will start to fall in place, but that's all I expect in the short term. Right, guys, that's it. Rico, take it easy. Andrew, guys, thank you for, you know, sending in your questions and joining along. I really do appreciate your support. You guys are wonderful. Take it easy. Go and make sure you go and have a few beers tonight, or, you know, I don't really drink, so I'll probably have a KFC or a Chinese or something to cheer me, you know, a celebratory bit of food. That's my vice at the moment. Or go casino or something. I don't know. Just go and enjoy myself for a bit. But whatever your vice is, guys, go and do it tonight. Go and just take a day off. Go and enjoy yourselves, and let's recharge the batteries ready for Sunday, people. Sign out. Take it easy, guys.